There is a powerful quote by Carl Jung that captures a deep truth about human psychology and personal development. It goes something like this: life really begins at 40. Before the age of 40, according to Jung, much of our identity is shaped by external forces: society's expectations, family values, education systems, and career ambitions. We build a life based on what we're told we should do, not always what we want to do. But then something shifts. Around the age of 40, and for many, between 40 and 45, a quiet yet powerful awakening begins. It starts deep inside. You may not notice it at first, but it's there. A sense that something is missing, that the person you've worked so hard to become may not be who you truly are. In the first half of life, most people are driven by external goals: earning degrees, climbing the career ladder, raising a family, and gaining social status. These goals give structure, purpose, and even a sense of pride. But they often leave behind a lingering question: is this all there is? As the 40s approach, that question gets louder. The ambitions that once fueled you may no longer satisfy you. The roles you've played for years, the successful professional, the responsible parent, the perfect partner, may start to feel like masks. You begin to crave something deeper, something more authentic. And this is where Jung's idea of individuation comes in. It's a process of peeling back the layers of conditioning to rediscover your true self, the person you were meant to be before the world told you who to become. It's a journey inward, often sparked by discomfort. The things that once excited you might now feel hollow. The material success you've achieved may feel meaningless. Even long-term relationships might feel incomplete. This awakening can feel like a crisis. You may begin to question everything: your job, your marriage, your values, your goals. You might feel restless, anxious, even lost, but it's not the end, it's a beginning. Many people make big changes during this time, changing careers, ending or beginning relationships, moving to new places, or discovering new passions. These are not acts of desperation. They are signs of growth. Because the truth is, real life doesn't start when we follow the crowd. It starts when we finally stop running from ourselves, when we pause, reflect, and dare to ask, who am I really? And that question, as simple as it sounds, can change everything. But here's the truth. Real transformation doesn't just happen in the outer world. According to Carl Jung, the most profound changes happen within. As we move through our 40s and 50s, long-buried thoughts, forgotten dreams, and repressed parts of ourselves begin to rise to the surface. The subconscious, once quiet, starts to speak louder. We begin to question the values we followed blindly our entire lives. And for the first time, we dare to ask, are these truly mine, or were they handed to me? This stage can feel both liberating and deeply unsettling, because when the identity you've lived by begins to dissolve, you're left in an unknown space, uncertain who you're becoming. And that uncertainty can be terrifying. If you've spent decades playing a specific role or following certain behavioral patterns, letting go of them can feel like losing the ground beneath your feet. But within that fear lies an incredible opportunity, the opportunity to reconnect with your true self. Jung believed that the key to happiness and peace in the second half of life is to stop chasing external success and start seeking inner fulfillment. The awakening that begins around 40 is a sacred phase. It's a time when we begin to listen to our soul. We start tuning into that quiet inner voice that had been drowned out by the noise of the world. People begin exploring new paths, diving into philosophy, spirituality, art, or personal growth. Life no longer revolves solely around work or financial gain. What truly matters now is inner peace, emotional wholeness, and authentic connection. Many rediscover passions they once abandoned, hobbies from childhood, dreams left on the shelf. Some begin to write, others paint. Some spend more time in nature. Desires that had been buried for years in the subconscious now find a way to emerge. This awakening is a threshold. It's a passage between who we were and who we are becoming, and it requires courage, the courage to walk away from the shadows of the past and step into a more authentic future. Jung saw this time not as a midlife crisis, but as a doorway, a powerful moment of opportunity, an invitation to become the person you were always meant to be. Because as Jung said, real life begins at 40. It is only then that we have the courage to be our true selves. And then comes a second wave of realization, somewhere between 45 and 50. It's the understanding that life is not infinite, that the second half of your journey has begun, and that every moment now matters more than ever before. The awakening that often begins in our early 40s reveals inner conflicts and forces us to re-examine the path we've walked. But awareness alone is not enough. Lasting change requires conscious re-evaluation. This phase becomes a crucial turning point, a moment to look in the mirror and ask, where am I really going? It's a time when we dig deep into ourselves and ask the big questions. Who am I? What kind of life do I truly want to live? We revisit our past ideals, dreams, and goals. The things we once pursued with such passion, do they still hold meaning today? We begin to reflect more deeply on career, family, relationships, and our place in the social world. For some, this is a time of confirmation, a sense that they're on the right track. But for others, it's a wake-up call. They realize they've taken the wrong path. Maybe they've stayed in the same job for years, only to wake up one day and feel empty. Maybe they've maintained a marriage that no longer brings emotional connection. Maybe suppressed emotions, long buried, are finally rising to the surface. And now, for the first time, they want to make conscious choices, not just accept life as it is. They ask themselves, what do I really want? Not what society wants, not what their parents expected, but what their soul is calling for. This is the heart of Jung's process of individuation, the journey toward inner wholeness. It means stepping beyond the roles we've played, beyond the identities we've projected to the world, and facing the shadows inside. Desires we ignored, fears we denied, pieces of ourselves we abandoned long ago. Success and social status lose their grip. Now we crave meaning. Emotional turbulence is common during this time. As we confront past regrets, I should have chosen a different path. I worked all my life but never truly lived. We also begin forming a new vision of the future. There's another hard truth we face in this period, the reality of aging. The body doesn't bounce back as it once did. The mind begins to slow in some ways and deepen in others. But this isn't a decline. It's the beginning of a higher form of wisdom. Now life experience, not physical strength, becomes your greatest power. You realize many of the things you used to chase were never truly valuable, and you start letting go. You simplify. You focus on fewer but deeper relationships. You reduce your dependency on material things. You rediscover how to actually enjoy your life. For many, this stage brings bold changes. New careers, new ways of living, new ways of being. The age of 45 to 50 becomes a pivotal chapter. It offers an opportunity, not for survival, but for reinvention. You shed old beliefs, outdated habits, and emotional baggage. And for the first time, you begin to live with clarity, courage, and intention. No longer ruled by the noise of the outer world, you tune in to the whispers of your inner one. And in that stillness, something beautiful happens. You begin to become whole. This journey, from the outer world to the inner world, from pleasing others to discovering your truth, is not easy, but it is sacred. Some call it a midlife crisis, but maybe it's actually a midlife awakening, an invitation to finally stop performing and start becoming. To no longer chase success just for recognition, but to seek meaning that nourishes your soul. To no longer wear the masks expected by the world, but to reveal the face that has always lived underneath. Carl Jung believed that real life begins at 40, not because we suddenly have more answers, but because finally we have the courage to ask the right questions. This stage of life is not the end, it is a return to what is essential, to what is real. We stop surviving and we start living. We stop running and we start listening. We stop chasing shadows and we begin to stand in our light. So if you're in your 40s, 50s, or even beyond, and you feel lost, restless, or uncertain, know this: you are exactly where you're meant to be. Because it's in this space, between who you were and who you are becoming, that your true self is finally born. And that is where life really begins.